Do you have a room helper?
I do not.
How about under your desk?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Life After Xdebug Setup. My name is oheller. I'm a senior backend developer at Electric Citizen. You can find me at Drupal.org, LinkedIn, or email at oheller. Slack, I'm Oz. On TC Drupal and Midcamp Midcamp Slack. I've been doing this for a while. At Electric Citizen, we deal primarily with government and higher ed, and it's a lot of fun. Who's this for? You've heard about Xdebug. You know we should be using it. You've got it up and running. You've started stepping through stuff and said, nope. You've started your trek through Xdebug. You love PHP and use it semi-regularly. Or you just want to see me do this. Who is it not for? If you use Xdebug regularly, chances are this will be too advanced or really simple for you. You've been doing this a long time, same thing. If you don't like code, probably not for you. Setup. Here are some of the tutorials that you can use to set it up. PHPstorm, Sublime Text 3, and Atom all have these slides available after the presentation. So you can choose your IDE and go from there. Good luck. A couple of notes with Xdebug. You will get, when you're up and running, performance hit. Because Xdebug is constantly listening for, hey, are you doing something? Are you doing something? Are you doing something? If the answer is no, 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 it's still looking. So it'll slow things down. And you'll notice as we're stepping through things, it will stop, go, stop. So if you're not using it, turn it off. If you're, certainly don't use it on your production server unless you really need to. You're also able to remote debug. So if you need to log on to your server, depending on various hosts, you're able to log into your server. And if your server is configured for Xdebug, you will then be able to SSH tunnel through, connect, and watch, as long as your code's matching, your breakpoints and what's going on the server. Hey, here's what's going on. Also, you can use the drush and command line. I have not actually gotten this up and running, but I know it can be done. So we'll not be demonstrating that. And now it's time for live demo. What could possibly go wrong? First, we're going to turn off the Wi-Fi. Second, go over to my test site. Lovely blog about bacon and stuff. Let's edit that. What? We're up and running. All right. Nope. Can everyone see that okay, or should I make it bigger? Can you in the back see this? Bigger. All right.
Should we also try turning the lights off? Do you think that will?
Do you see a switch? Alright. Alright, so here we are. Function, just entity pre-save. So I've loaded my node, it's sitting, checking, and already we have our first breakpoint. It is checking our entity, seeing where we're at, and here you can see entity. We have the entity object. You can tell that by the fact that it looks like a little box, 3 lines instead of the 1, 2, 3, which is our array. You have your entity, cookie, server, session, global, bunch of constants. When you really want to, you can dig farther into this, but for now, I wouldn't. So taking a look at our entity, because I'm first going to my entity, these are the things I see. When I save my entity, it will kick this off again, and I will get different things. Here is the URI. Which, interesting. Well, let's continue along. So it finished. It's now ready for me to edit. So I will. Thanks. It doesn't matter. And here we are again. And you can see we now have post. But we're actually dealing with our entity this time instead of the preloading of the entity. So here are our values. Here are fields. And you can see these are actual arrays. And then you have strings as your language key, line code, entity keys. There's your bundle ID. Things that tell you about your entity. Continuing down, a lot of, let's move that over. So, first time through, looking at all of this stuff, there's a lot of stuff. And here's memcache, or some caching. And since I'm in the pre-save, I could grab these things and start manipulating them since I actually see them. Where it's more interesting, in your values, this is where you'd go to actually start finding the values of things that you have. Let's see, where am I? Title. Test blog. Changed. Created. These are all things you can also tie into. Author. Alright, I'm using taxonomy here, so I have target 6, so it's pointing to that taxonomy. Here's my media image that I'm pointing to. Keyword field is currently empty. And then if you take a look under fields, here you get your definition of what is my actual field. If you go deep into it, you can find what you're looking for, but you go through value. if you're doing that. But if you're wanting to see how Drupal sets up and is looking at your various fields, you can go through these. Let's see. Those are the big ones for right here. Now, yeah, you see in the code, if entity ID equals blog, well, there are these buttons up here that allow me to step over a function, step into a function, make me go into the function, or step out. So let's see where stepping into ID takes us. It takes us to the Drupal core entity, the content entity base, to the function of ID, which gives us this. What in the world is this? Well, looks like it's still our entity, but then it's getting entity key, so it's taking a look in here and pulling in our ID. Oh, we're 39, which is bundle, or it's taking a look and finding our key, which is ID. And what is, turn this, all right, what are you going to give me? So by selecting this, right-clicking, I can pull up evaluate expression, which I can then start running. Gives me 39. I wonder what that means. You can start changing, and what happens if that you can start changing the evaluation that you're putting in. So as you're coding, instead of having to, if you're using something like Drupal set message to run, print out your output, what did I do? You can easily just, how do I get this? Evaluate expression, change that, run it, it'll give you a result. Is that the result you're hoping for? If not, then you can keep on messing with it. We'll do that a little bit later. So, oh, I hit over, here we are. We're continuing along. Also, you can move this over to see where you're at in the call. As you're navigating all of this, you're able to say, oh, here is where I'm at. Here are the things before me, things where I'm at. And while this is happening, a whole bunch of files are being opened because we're jumping to that file and looking at where we're at. And as we all know, Drupal's file structure is vast, and we can end up all over the place. So, I will step out. So here we're returning the ID. Turn this, do save. Here's our entity, here is our ID. It's the NID that we got. And so we're saving our entity to the NID. And we'll just hit go, and it will, when you hit play, it will then play to the next breakpoint. If you're cycling through things, it will, if you have a list or a loop that you're cycling through, hitting play will jump to the next item, and we'll keep on going until it's out of that loop. Should you let me trigger something else? by clearing the cache, it should, while you're debugging, and you, some setups will have it so that when you run commands in Drush, it will fire off in PHPstorm, so it will just break. I have had a couple times in which I've been sitting there waiting for my cache to clear in the middle of debugging and wondering why it's not doing anything.
Well, how do you turn that off? Because it drives me crazy.
The way I found is just once you're ready to stop, you click off the stop listening, or just hit twice. But what? Let's see where. This is what I'm looking for. Once you've set a bunch of breakpoints, you can lose them all. Let's see. Here, when you open up your console, you'll be able to view all your breakpoints. You'll also be able to mute all of your breakpoints. So once you've found the value or are done cycling through things, you can just say, all right, turn them all off, hit play, and go to finishing everything up. So let's see where my next... May have to exit presenting. There we are. There. All right. Let's enable all of these. Typically, when you're, there's the breakpoints that I'm dealing with. I just had the size, screen size wrong. As you have your breakpoints, as you click on them, it will take you to where that breakpoint is. So if you are in one section and you need to start dealing it in another, but you don't want to keep on looping over the same section, you can use this to just disable them. Otherwise, you would remove them, losing them, so if you needed to go back to them, you would then have to figure out where was that. I don't recall. So, let's move on to this one. So, that's done. Now we need to go do something else again. Let's head to the home page. Oh! Alright, so here in my theme I have the preprocessed node with a breakpoint set at my vars equaling variables, elements, node. So here here is the array of variables available. You have your elements, which will contain, here is your actual render array, containing your object, your cache, various build pre-render things. Title, and viewing that, we get our field title string coming to home page with some data attributes and the ID. So that is inside elements. Then our hook theme, where we are, we're at a node. The actual attributes for our object, so it's article, home page. The actual node is 3. So with that, you can start setting if-then statements as far if you know where you are at. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I am an admin. I am logged in. Should you wish to start messing with your front page and start changing the format and doing various things, you can start that logic knowing if you're logged in or not, and you're able to, you know what you're looking for. It'd be, when you evaluate, variable is admin, so if variable is admin equals true, do something or not. And when you run it, it's true. Question I have is, all right, I have my variable node. All right, here's my results. Looking at my vars, and if I want to get the value of my title, will that actually, that doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Well, what's this over here? Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. So, what should it be? Home page. All right. What happens if I just continue doing title? I am finished. Doesn't like that. About that. There we go. Got something. That doesn't look quite right. Let's see, value. There we go. So, should this actually be what I'm looking for, I could then put that in my code and write some logic around, hey, I'm now on the home page. I know I'm on the home page, and did that without having to necessarily keep on going. Doing that from the code, being able to then edit that. I will have to end debugging, possibly clear the cache, and then rerun to be able to have that change show up. But I now am more confident in what I'm looking at. Also, because I'm looking at preprocessed node, I'm able to add variables here so to pass them on to my twig template. I've had to do that with background images before. You have the URL, you want to wrap it in a background image tag to make it equal background and put that in your twig template. This is where you do it, but to get the fine tuning of it, I would do it here. Using much that same process that I just did for the title, but I would actually put it in the code. So, I don't recall what I did.
So same thing, just pay value.
Like so. So that should return my title at this point. Right. So that covers node process, or entity save, or pre-save, and node process, pre-process node. Those are two big ones it's a fairly deep structure. Those are the areas that you'll probably want to look at most to start with. Let's open this back up. Can I? Nope. You're not going to behave. Exit that. Exit that. Wanting to pull up my navigation again. Let's this one. All right. All right, we'll get back to that in a minute. All right, so next thing I'll take a look at are some forms. Right here I have two views with exposed filters, which are forms. And if I do that, put something in there, it will look at, hey, you have some custom form alters. What do you have? I'm going to now loop through them. This one, form ID equals views exposed form. I'm here looking for form ID views exposed form key media word media keyword media. So it's going to say that's not what I'm looking for. Gonna continue on. Inside our form array, we have all of our, here is our search input field. This view only has the one search field. If we had other, or filter field, if we had multiple filter fields, they would also appear here. Your ID, your form ID, actions, submit and reset. I have both of those set. Method is going to be get the unique build ID and then we have form state as well. This object is in here, and there's many things, including the input, which getting the form state input allows you to, hey, start matching and doing some logic there. Does this equal what I think it is? Should they not be searching for this? And all of the things. All right, that's not the one we're looking for. This is the one we're looking for. Same sort of things, but what we're going to do here is set the form attributes class to hidden. Doing that, I now have views exposed form and the class hidden added. So clicking through, you won't see any change, but the keyword media, this form, the exposed filter, would have been appearing twice had that code not been there hiding it. And to do that, we'll just wait. Turn off my debugger. Reset. Clear the cache. And there is the field that I was hiding through the form alter. Well, I have about 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions?
Does it automatically detect your breakpoints, or do you have to manually tell it what to look for when you're going through this?
I have to manually tell where I want it to stop. But then once I have set those, it will listen and continue to listen. And should there not be any, like should it miss all of the breakpoints, PHPstorm will let me know repeatedly that, oh, by the way, you loaded the page, I'm listening, and I didn't hear anything.
So I usually set a couple breakpoints. How come when I walk by your desk, I see 10 breakpoints stacked directly on top of one another?
Wow.
Because I'm lazy?
No, I'm just honestly curious. Does it help you find specifically the break you're looking for? Or?
Yeah. As I'm clicking through, maybe I'll actually want to dive in as I did with ID, and start going down the rabbit hole of, all right, where's this going? Where's this going? Where's this going? And then to get out of that, I will hit play, and it will stop at the next breakpoint, booting me up all the way to the top level. And if I'm continuing to do that, I don't want to have to keep on hitting the go up one level until I miss where I'm supposed to be. Yes?
You set a breakpoint on the condition that a value changes. Like if a value changes, if something in the code changes a value, it breaks on that particular location that changes it?
I believe you can add logic to the breakpoints. I usually do not. You can add watchers so that you can specifically look at one element, and as you're looping through, watch that element change. Well, here are conditions. So It looks like you probably could. I have not.
If you right-click on a breakpoint, you can also add the condition there, at least in the code view. And then you just put in like, if form ID equals whatever value, and it'll run until that condition is true. So right there, you just write some PHP code that is that's like, if 1 equals 1.
Let's see.
I don't think you have to put the
If.
else though. It just is sort of a like, if this expression is true.
Let's see. Something like that.
Yeah, I have to look it up every time, but I'm like, I know this is possible.
All right. So I haven't used that, but yes, you can do it. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you. Go back to this and did that. And no, you're here we are. Join us for the unconference tomorrow, and thank you.